The Radium Podcast, episode 59. We got KDE in the building.
I'm here. I'm doing it. I'm up. I'm ready.
He's on the beat.
Yeah.
What did your beat tag used to be?
I think it was... Yeah, I think it was like the 14-year-old me pitched down.
Now people
that's how you got to do it, man.
Producers
you got to get it how
really
you
crazy.
live. I didn't have no money to pay someone to do a VO for me or something.
You're like, I'm going to sound design this shit myself.
Yeah. No, you know what I did? I like literally, I didn't have like a preamp or an interface or anything. So I literally like plugged like a SM57 or worse into the microphone input of my computer.
Nice.
And then like I had to gain it up like crazy, so I'd like put like 3 plugins to get enough gain out of it.
So yeah, it sounds like it.
And then I record my tag.
Yeah. Every time I heard that tag on something you sent me, I was like, oh shit, it's glitching. Because it just sounded like something like.
Yeah, I ditched that one though, but hey, that's still a classic. You could still find it on Hit Records. So.
Yeah, what was the other one? The beat.
RadiumBeats.com.
No.
Everyone has those ones though.
Download now.
For RadiumBeats.com.
Those are the worst.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's episode 59. Welcome back. We're almost to 60. Yeah, big deal for us. Ziggy is passing out. He's loving life, getting scratches, living that life. It's basically in LA, it's summertime, and it happened instantly.
Yeah.
Yesterday, it just got to 90 degrees out of nowhere. And then now today, it's like back up in like 88, 90 degrees.
Just Beats hit me today, who was like, hey, so what's the soonest I can come to the studio tomorrow? I'm trying to beat the heat.
I need that AC, bro. So, yeah, we pay for AC. No, it's funny, though. Like, LA's like that. It's like, bam, bam. All right, now we're hot again. Today, we're going to be talking about a bunch of stuff. I think we wanted to get into some of the stuff about the new Mac Pros coming out.
We're going to get into some nerdy stuff.
Yeah, nerdy shit.
Well,
Buckle up.
Yeah, we just had Radium Workshop, the first one. It was pretty lit, I'd say.
Yes. And,
or maybe that was just me.
No, yeah. Kev was just really drunk. No, it went really well. Thank you, everybody that came out. All the guests, all the speakers, all the guest speakers. Everything went really well, and we had a great time out in Santa Monica. Really beautiful spot, and just some great. I mean, I learned so much. I don't know about you, but
no, I was lit.
No, I was lit. I already knew that shit.
No. One thing I learned is that everybody wanted to ask technical questions and nerdy stuff. So, why not just do a podcast today and talk about some nerdy stuff, some news, some of the nerdiest shit that's come out in the last couple weeks. So
yeah, and it's funny though because I kind of made a snide remark about like what plugins are you using? But
you hurt my feelings.
The truth is
it really hurt me.
Yeah. The truth is everybody wants to know that, like as if it's like the cheat code or something. It's like, I'm sorry guys, but like this is all on YouTube. Right? Like it's a Google search away. Like you want to know what plugins people use.
Yeah, you know what? The whole game of audio has been pretty well documented in tutorials on YouTube at this point.
I think you're good. Don't worry. Like even like there's even like premium access mixed with the masters.com. You can watch the top mixing engineers and exactly what plugins they used on exactly what it was, like whether
what records, right?
Yeah, whether it's the the latest record with Ariana Grande or the
Back in my day, I had to hit like Sound on Sound magazine, and then they had like a section. And I had some like plug-in pictures.
Love that one. Absolutely.
I still use that Rihanna Reverb preset from SOS that Phil Tan had. So
I love those. Like when they break down the song and what they did with it, and the plugins they use, and the outboard, and how they process the vocal chain. They go through like the bass. We use this. The 808, the kick. Those are dope.
They still do those?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
But that shit's great. SOS is great. I love Sound on Sound. And furthermore, I think that, just learning anything you can, wherever you can get it from, I think it's really important. Just make sure you're getting it from people that actually are reputable, because there's a lot of YouTube channels out there where there's like guys want to teach you how to mix and master, and they've
From
never.
their bedroom.
Yeah. They've never. They got their HS7s up, and they're like, "Here's how you mix and master," and you're like, "Dude, what? You don't have any credits." Yeah, huh? I
You
got
don't even need credits.
Jamal the King down the street.
I think, someone who mixes and masters, you can tell right away if someone else mixes and masters because you start asking, you get into the science, which is what it's really based upon, the physics.
They're like, no,
And
bro,
then you're
this
like,
just
yo,
sounds
you
good.
don't know anything about physics. And you're going to tell me about compressors and, you know.
But it's not even that. Like, I think a lot of the misinformation lies in, I'm not saying like you need credits, but I do think like the people that are teaching mixing and mastering on YouTube, it's always like 5 things to do to make a perfect mix. If there were 5 things to do to make a perfect mix, do you think anyone would have a career in mixing?
No, you know what I love is like I always turn the LA2A to like 75%. It's like, oh, so it just works.
Just
at
every
that
time.
one setting on the LA2A.
Every time. Female
turn the
vocalist, rapper, orchestral music, it doesn't matter.
I just turn it to 75%. That's the best.
It's like the Fruity Loops, the Better Maker or whatever.
Oh, Sound Gooderizer.
Yeah, Sound Gooderizer. That's what everyone's doing there. This Sound Gooderizer, you just turn it to 75%, you're good.
Let's get to some Sound Gooderizing, though.
Yeah.
Speaking of shit that you just, like, do on your own. Yeah. Ozone. Isotope. Yeah. Isotope just dropped Nectar. No, not Nectar. Neutron.
Neutron 3.
See, that's the problem is those names are, like, so close together. You guys got to, like... You could have chose any animal in the animal kingdom to name your plugin after, or, you know what I mean?
Neutron and Nectar. Neuter. When you blend them, it's neuter. We got the Neuter 4. No, honestly, that's a pretty cool plugin.
Yeah, so Neutron 3, AI assisted. Why do you think it's cool, Brad?
Well, because the robots are taking over, and the robots are really good at certain things, right? So analyzing audio, and for me, Neutron 2, Neutron 1, what I've used it for mainly.
I never had Neutron 1, but what was those days like?
Yeah, it's crazy, man. It was so rough.
There was like no auto, and
it was
I had
so
to like
rough.
twist EQ knob myself.
It was so rough, man. I had to click it myself, bro. No, Neutron is a very, very cool plugin. Neutron 2, Neutron 3, the differences are basically just more automation, more AI. But what I love about it is the ability to find like problem spots instantly and letting the AI work and being a little bit lazy as an engineer rather than like opening up one of my favorites, the Massenburg EQ, or like for you, your outboard GMLs where you have to go like sweep around and then you're like, that's where it is. Obviously with, decades of experience, I know exactly where I'm looking. Like, I'm like, okay, I know that hum, or I know that buzz, or I know that resonating frequency. I know exactly where to look.
Do you think the robots are smarter than you?
No. And the reason is because I have emotion, human emotion, right? So
this is getting really deep.
Yeah. So music, well, because this is really interesting because Neutron 3 came out, and the biggest thing that they're trying to do is like literally like, just let it do everything and just visually like represent.
Put it on every single track.
Yeah. How wide do you want the vocals? Just turn the fucking visualizer to wide vocal, right?
Give it a sample. It'll make it exactly like it.
Right. And I'm like, like it depends on the music, right? Like the style of music, etc. And what they're doing, Isotope's really smart for doing this. They're basically taking a bunch of different styles of music, and they're taking a bunch of data.
Okay.
Right? Mm-hmm. So, for example, they'll take orchestral music, and they'll look at the top, 100,000 orchestral music mix mastered.
Mm-hmm.
They will then they'll go in and they'll analyze every single thing, right?
Yeah.
And they'll look at the shapes, the curves of the mixes and stuff, and they'll go like, okay, that's like generally we'll find a median about like what that looks like.
You're talking about the tonal balance isotope.
But that's how all of their plugins work.
Yeah.
It's just all through data. And
you can feed your own curve in there if you want to sound like Britney Spears or whatever.
Facts. So you can feed it your own reference track basically in your mix. But the cool thing about it is that it takes a little bit of the guesswork out. As an engineer that has experience, I can see it being really helpful because I can go, oh, this is what Isotope's saying. Do I agree with it? Do I not agree with it? Right? And I'm like, I agree with this part of it. Like, I like what you did with the EQ.
Mm-hmm.
I like you getting rid of these harsh frequencies, but I don't agree with what you did in the low end. And then also, I don't really like the color of your EQ. So I'm going to throw a Pultec on it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I'm going to do a Pultec on the low end, and I'm going to boost the high end with my Pultec EQ, and then I might go outboard with my GML to cut that frequency instead of your EQ that's built in. Yeah. And now we can get our own colors and our own palettes, but we can use the robots for what they're really good at, is just analyzing.
Let me ask you, so you are going to put a neutron in every single track as proclaimed by Isotope?
I won't.
Even just for the analyzing function is what you just said. Probably won't need to.
Absolutely not. I don't need to, right? But I think that it's really helpful for people that do need to.
I was about to say,
can learn mixing that way. You know, you can learn music arrangement. You can learn producing that way. Like, yo, why am I using an 808, a bass guitar, and a bass synth all on the same stack? Like, when Isotope's telling me, hey, you're a dickhead, I'm gonna just cut all that out, and I'm gonna cut all that out of this.
But that is true. But I will say, like, what scares me more is that this is like the most obvious form of presetting. Because if I know any amateur mixers or engineers, they want like what one button do I turn this to 75%? They want to learn that stuff. And Isotope's gonna automatically mix for me. Of course, then I don't have to actually do it myself.
Right.
So I don't know, but we're looking at it from like the lenses of people who've like just spent years mixing.
Right.
So,
well, that's the thing. Like, if you've spent the time, the energy, you've learned the science, you know your speakers, you know your room, you've been doing this for a long time, you're not really going to be using the neutron stuff as much as like someone that's in a bedroom that's not tuned, their ears aren't tuned, they've been doing it for 2 years, and they're trying to learn. And I think that the big thing for me is I wish I had that technology back then because you can learn so much quicker.
You think so?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, if you want to learn, I think,
You want to be a good mixing engineer, you want to make great sounding records quick, and you want to figure it out. You can use these AI technologies from Neutron 3 where you can go, oh, it keeps cutting out this like 3.2K on the vocal.
Mm-hmm.
What am I doing wrong? Well, maybe your microphone has this resonant capsule. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So you should know that on your mic, you always need to cut that out. So just track it that way or pay attention to that frequency. Then your ear starts to get trained like, yo, that's a sibilant area. You know, the 5K, the 8K in the vocal range, I'm getting a, you know.
Yeah.
I should always cut that out.
Mm-hmm.
I should look out for that. The compression, like I'm going to be using a multi-band compression.
Okay, I'll keep it real. Can I start shitting on Isotope a little bit?
Yeah, of course.
I mean, I love their products. Trust me, I use them every day.
Yeah.
But let's keep it real. I've used Neutron 2 for, I think, over a year, maybe 2 years.
Right. It's been a while now.
Yeah, I can't remember when that thing came out. But it compresses way too hard. Have you found that?
Now,
Neutron 2. I'm not talking 3. I'm talking 2.
Now, this is always the thing. Like, are you talking about the auto mode, like where it analyzes?
Yeah, every time I use it.
And what are you talking about? Vocals? You talking about overall?
I've used it on everything at this point, just about everything. And I typically find it's doing way too much compression.
Yeah, so
I'm asking you if you find the same thing. So.
Well, that's the thing. Like for my mixes, I don't use the compressors usually for that.
Yeah. Well,
I use it for the EQ.
My
dynamic EQ.
I know, yeah, of course. But what I'm saying is for everybody who just wants to use it and just press auto and go. I think they overcompress. I think they're a little heavy-handed with their compression. I think their high-end boosting, a little heavy-handed. But I haven't used Neutron 3, so I'm gonna reserve it. I'm gonna use Neutron 3, and then maybe we can have this talk later.
No, this is a really good point. So even on medium setting.
Yeah.
If you did this on a vocal or something, it's going to like boost a ton of high end.
Right.
It's going to cut out the high mids.
The shit out of it,
yeah,
too.
it's going to excite the shit out of it. and you're like, ooh. like most people in an untuned room would just be like, dude, Neutron said it. Fuck it.
Sounds good.
But here's the really interesting thing is that the technology pushes the fads and pushes the culture of music and the mixing and the sonics.
It's trying to get the Drake cut every time.
Now look, dude. now look. This is 100% from experience. You know this as well as me. When Guap Dad 4000 put out his latest record, Flossin'.
Okay, 4,000. Yeah.
Yep, Guap. You know Guap, dude.
I'm just kidding.
Okay.
Of course.
When he put out his latest record, Flossin'.
Yeah.
Okay. When you heard his reference mix, because he asked us to take a shot at the mix and master.
Okay.
Of course, they had Temp Love. They already loved what they had.
Mm-hmm.
When you heard the reference mix, whoever mixed that, I don't know who it was, they obviously used Neutron or some sort of isotope on the vocals.
I opened the rough mix. It didn't have Neutron.
Okay, but
okay.
Herein lies exactly the point I'm trying to make.
Yeah.
So Neutron pushes that idea of like really cutty, filter everything out, rap vocals that are really small and tight and in the middle and really cut through everything, right?
Yeah.
They're tiny,
Mm-hmm.
especially if it's anything pitched,
Oh my gosh.
right?
You kidding me?
Yeah.
Every time I've heard Quavo, it's like the smallest vocal.
You know, like that kind of stuff. It's a little tiny thing. and
Or
it's
Meek
really,
Mill. Have you heard Meek Mill
Yeah.
on records?
but it's like brutal.
Yeah. Meek Mill is brutal on records. Have you heard him?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you're kind of like, oh God, that I don't want to hear
It's
that.
like him through a CA100 filtered
right?
even more to boost more 7K,
Facts.
6K, whatever.
But I think what that is like Neutron and Isotope, like analyzing all this music from like people that don't really mix and master. They're like, it came from the urban genre, I think.
Yeah.
It's like people that are like in a studio for hours getting fucked up and just blasting music. And they're like, I can't hear the vocal. And then they just kept filtering, and kept boosting that high mid. And that high mid is brittle. Like it's like really, really harsh. Those frequencies.
Yeah, and Neutron does
And
that.
really hyper compressed.
Does that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Does it 100,000%.
So I think that's like where it came from. And now it's like pushing that even more. And even the Drake sound, that was like a big part of it.
Okay, Neutron 2, I'm going to keep it 100, was really like the decent things that you could get out of it were definitely vocals.
Mm.
Right?
Yep.
With dynamic EQ, like there's useful stuff
I
out
like
of there.
the EQing. I
the
like
bass, every
but
time I
that's
hit it on a bass guitar or anything, it just like
I don't fuck with
wasn't
it on
there.
that show.
Yeah.
I don't fuck with it.
I want Neutron to be better, and so it looks like this Neutron 3 was what I wanted Neutron 2 to be, as far as from the outlooks, because I haven't used it yet. So, like, I wanted it to do all the mix assistant stuff that it can do now. Like, all that, because back then, Ozone 8 could do what,
right.
you know what I mean?
Right.
Neutron 3 is doing now.
Yeah.
And, like, I almost expected Neutron 2 to do that because it was after Ozone 8. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear
So-
that. But yeah, I mean, you know, Isotope's making leaps and bounds. Like they're doing really cool shit. I think people can't become too reliant on them.
Yeah, and I know this stuff. This is all based on science, and these guys are all based out of the Bay Area, where I'm from too, and it's based on a lot
Very techy,
heavy technology. So,
yeah.
and technology takes time, you know. And if it didn't, we'd all be wearing, you know, VR goggles every night when we go home instead of watching TV. But we don't,
No shit.
because technology
We
takes a
still
lot of
don't
time.
do that shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm in the same camp. It's like use the tools for what they're good at. Listen, really think about why you're doing stuff. A lot of new engineers, producers, artists that are just doing it themselves, they're gonna just rely on the technology. The technology is gonna kind of like shit out some stuff that may not make sense for their music.
Yeah.
You know.
Let's do a shameless plug too, because here we do plug-in of the week. We're definitely gonna do a Neutron 3 plug-in of the week. Maybe give us a couple weeks. We gotta use it, learn it, and then we can talk about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Facts.
And like really give it a walkthrough. So
Yeah, because sometimes these plugins are really great for certain things, but they're really bad at other things. You know.
yeah,
So I may not use it on an orchestral mix, but I might use it on like a pop EDM mix that really needs that kind of stuff. You know, really overprocessed.
but if you wanna see some sick plugins that we've already went through, Brad's gone through the BX Digital, one of my favorites.
that's-
Use
that's a
that.
great
That's a
one.
daily driver for me.
Love it.
And yeah, I mean I've done the E27,
Yeah,
a
I
bunch
love
of
that
other ones.
plugin.
Yeah.
And the E27 is like you're just very, very, very dainty with it. You know, it's a heavy ass.
That thing's a hammer,
Yeah, it
and
is.
sometimes you just need like a little, you know,
It's fucking sledgehammer.
like a
dude.
little tap, you
Yeah.
know, but you gotta have sledgehammer instead.
Facts. But yeah, let's go on to like truly, you need a badass machine to run a lot of these plugins, because the technology and the math is getting so much more sophisticated. You really need a heavy ass, multi-core, multi-threaded CPU, lots of RAM, lots of dude, it's bringing our laptops to their knees, Like, you start really using a lot of neutron or isotope on stuff, you're like, oh, I got to take the buffer up to 1,000 samples.
You know what's hilarious? I just think about the days before Pro Tools had freeze, and I was like, how did I get anything done?
How did you do anything right? It's unbelievable. Because the plugins have gotten so much better, though.
Yeah.
Like, truly. And even when you're using UAD plugins, they may, be working off your DSP, but they're still loading a little bit into memory, like native memory.
Mm-hmm.
So, and there's a way to look at that, like look at the UAD meter console, where you can see what it's doing, the percentage on each DSP core, but they'll also have like a little meter for your memory and how much it's using of your memory. And that's really important because a lot of people think, oh, no, it's UAD. It's just, all DSP. I was talking to one of their engineers, and they were saying, listen, here's the thing. You got a quad-core MacBook Pro. To load one instance.
Flex on them, Brad.
One instance.
Flex.
Yeah, right. Quad-core. From 2017. You load one instance of the 1073 modeled plugin UAD version on your native CPU, it would bring your computer to its knees. Because they've done the math completely for their DSP and to spread out the load across all the DSPs, right? And this is a lot of math. Like, that's what it is. But a lot of people don't understand. They're like, oh, well, why the fuck? I'm loading UAD plugins, and it's like my computer's starting to lag. I need to change the buffer rate and stuff. It's like, dude, those are heavy, heavy, heavy plugins. Super heavy, like that they need their own DSP. So, transitioning the talk, let's talk about how Apple and Mac has finally come out with a new computer to address these problems. I mean, for us, like
for
in the
the
pro
low
market,
price of $5,000,
I think it's $6,000.
$6,000,
$59.99.
and you can get a model of the new Mac Pro cheese grater, really cheese grater this time.
Cheesy grater, baby.
Yeah, that thing will be just as powerful as iMac 2017 from Apple.
Yo, that's so true. It's so funny though because
a 5K,
yeah, 6K. Stop saying 5K. It's $6,000.
Oh, is it 6? Okay,
yeah,
fine.
it's
Dude.
$59.99 starting.
And you can get a screen for another $5.
Yeah.
And you want a stand? Get another one for $1,000 for a stand.
Yeah, $1,000 for their max stand. Yeah, Apple's kind of crazy for doing that shit, but
they're not, because people will buy them. You know, if I didn't know any better, I would have thought that was crazy. But I was like, no, they're going to sell those.
Yeah,
yeah.
I think at this point, Apple has become, especially if you're going to get like their pro stuff, it's become sort of like, you can't afford it, you can't afford it. Sorry. If you can, you'll probably get the mid-level or the highest level model.
Should we big them up or trash them first?
I mean, I like Apple products. We use them every day.
Yeah, we use them every day. So I have to big them up.
We rely on them.
But then I also have to trash them.
Yeah, facts.
So what do you want to start with is my...
It's up to you, man.
I don't want to go over specs. Everyone's done 1,000 videos on specs.
Yeah.
But yes, okay, so
8-core processors.
Let's you can have
all the way
up to 28.
Yeah, 28
yeah, you can get it Intel something or other, something like Coffee Lake. I don't know what
some
the fuck
crazy
it is.
shit lake.
Yeah, but
the shit lake.
Something that was newly announced beginning of this year. Like I said, there's another 1,000 videos, and you can go onto Apple's website to figure it out. Yep. But yeah, what was it? 128 gigs of RAM, or no, what? 1.5 terabytes. Yeah, 1.5 terabytes of RAM.
Yeah, come on.
And
128 gigs.
Up to 4 video cards that you could get up to. I don't even remember the VRAM, but it doesn't matter.
Just
we're not
teraflops, mini teraflops.
Yeah, we're not here doing what's that? Bitcoining. Yeah. You know what I mean? So
this isn't Bitcoin mining. Processing medical data for scans and X-rays. We're not doing.
Yeah,
that.
We're not Bitcoin mining on Mac Pros. So yeah, you can put a lot of video cards in it. It's literally the chassis looks like a PCI expansion slot from top to bottom with a fan.
But apparently, if you load it up with as many video cards as you can get, you actually lose PCIe slots.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't access them.
But here was my thing. The thing I missed about it is like, damn, no solid state hard drive room. I mean, no, not solid state, no spinning hard drive room. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because that's what I'm used to. You know, the little sleds and putting the sleds in. Like that's
you need more storage.
Yeah, let's keep it real. Pros need actual storage, and there's they still solid state hard drives as big as they got in storage are not reasonable to do mass backup on.
It's kind of unbelievable that we're not there yet.
Yeah.
Like, you can't just get like a 10 terabyte solid state drive that's like, yeah, cool.
And of course we can get a external drive, but like if you're a pro and you're working on projects, like you don't want to always have to have an external drive to access stuff. And if you're like us, you know how many sessions I have? You know how many terabytes of sessions I got?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
And video content.
Content. Yeah. You think they're going to store video content on solid state drives?
It is kind of weird because it's like, yo, we got all these video graphic cards. You can do a bunch of 3D animation on them, but it's like, where's the fucking storage, dude? Like 3D animation storage on that is insane.
Yeah.
Like, it'll crank through that shit, but where would it be? Where would you put it?
Yeah, so the $6,000 entry level machine only has 256 gigabytes.
That's insane. That's fucking crazy to me. 256
for
gigs.
$6,000.
Like, what fucking year is it that you buy a $6,000 Mac Pro and you get 256 gigs of storage?
I understand.
Dude, my phone almost has that much.
Yeah.
You're going to buy a professional workstation, and they're like, yeah, you can store as much as your iPhone can handle.
Here's what it boils down to.
It's crazy.
Apple knows when you buy the Mac Pro that you're going to buy third-party products to upgrade it.
Yeah.
So what they do is they literally hit you with a fucking baton of, hey, you got to pay us up front.
Yeah.
To have this expandable machine. So they smacked you with the baton, and so that's all it is. Like, they could claim it's the 3D printed air panels or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You could make up anything.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, the truth is that the baseline Mac Pro is only really, if you bought it all raw, it would be like a $3,100 machine.
You're talking about the part for part. Yeah. But that's what I'm saying.
We're not talking about anything crazy here. You know, it's like prosumer shit.
But that list is based upon what Intel would sell it at store value. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not at what Intel would sell it at wholesale, which is what they're doing to. I mean, not wholesale, but like, you know, what do you call that?
Yeah, all the parts, right?
Yeah, so that part list of 3,000 or what did you say, $3,000
like 31, 32.
Yeah, so 31, 32 is based upon, you know, what you would be able to get at a computer store.
Yeah, you could just go get the parts.
And you know how much cheaper Apple's getting it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, facts.
So
probably, like, honestly, about 60% of that.
Yeah. So, but back to it, I understand the business move. They're trying to, you know, basically make sure their pockets are filled.
Yeah.
And make a computer that is expandable. Basically, the idea of a PC, essentially.
Yeah, facts.
To have your own expandable computer that you can upgrade and
with all,
retrofit with any product.
And it's all PCIe stuff.
Yeah.
Like, the idea is that, you know, you would buy drives, PCIe SSDs. You know what I mean? The carded, the fastest shit you could possibly get, which are like 3,000 megabits per second.
Yeah, and their internal drive, that first one goes up to 23 or 24, which is not slow, but you know, it's not like like you said, you can go buy a PCIe, you know, NVMe SSD like a Samsung,
right?
And go like 36 on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they go pretty fucking quick.
Mine's will not even have an internal drive from Apple, but you have to. You know what I mean?
Right. But yeah, no, this is crazy because like the Mac Pro, honestly, if you get the baseline, it's like you might as well just get a new iMac and max it out because it's going to be cheaper and it's going to be better.
But the idea is it's expandable, and so you're basically paying for the convenience of expanding your own computer.
Right.
So I don't know. It's an interesting topic. I don't think we're going to buy it until they go down. Here at the studio.
Well, truly, like, the thing about Apple that's always been the case is it's always been a closed system.
Yeah.
So the fact that they're finally...
that only happened once the iMac dropped in probably 2008.
No, it's always been like that since Steve Jobs designed the fucking first Mac. It was that you cannot upgrade it. You can't.
Oh, the idea of this is our system, and you buy our hardware to work with our system.
Exactly, and you're not going to jump into it and start putting your own components in it. And that's a great idea, right? Because it's like a closed system where, they control everything. Viruses are really hard to get on a Mac. But dude, like the new Mac Pro, they're opening up this capability. And I think like it's kind of like you said, you're paying the tax up front.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also like if you know what you're doing, it's worth it.
It
because
truly
you can get
is
those components
only affordable for professionals or
100%.
Someone who's definitely got the money, which means you're probably doing something else professional to
getting that bag.
Yeah, So,
but no, it's a cool system. I think the Mac Pro, the new Mac Pro, is going to be really crazy. Like if someone really gets the 28
it's going to work really well. I have no doubts on its performance. I have no doubts. Yeah. I only think it's really not meant for consumers, which is interesting because you go to what, WDC?
Yeah.
It's basically a consumer electronics show.
Yeah.
It's not a professional.
Right.
Like, and in fact, I'm sure they do professional electronic shows, but WDC is for consumers. So I don't know. It's interesting because Apple wants to flex to consumers. Like, yeah, look how expensive we made this machine.
Look how crazy this shit is.
Yeah. But you can't afford it.
Yeah. It's pretty wild, though.
But they're getting some backlash.
1.5 terabytes of RAM.
Yeah. The backlash is all based upon the stand. That it was like stand gate for Apple. That $1,000 stand.
$1,000 for a stand.
I have no quarrel with them selling a $1,000 stand. What's gonna happen is there's gonna be 1,000 third-party distributors that are going to make a $100 stand.
They're going to go nuts
and
with
then you're going to get their monitor on a $100 stand. Yeah.
And that's going to be big business. Like, third-party vendors making stands for the new Apple display, that's going to be a big business.
Yeah, what do you think about $5,000 for a display?
$5,000 Nah, I ain't doing it. But here's the thing.
How many OLED TVs
I'm not like 3D graphic designing the new Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Yeah, but even that, those
that.
People who are doing that amount, think about how big that sector of, the financial market that is. Yeah, it's not very much.
No, but like you're doing a movie that's going to gross $1 billion.
Yeah. Yeah, you're going to have 1,000 of those. You're going to have a building full of them. Yeah.
And they're really great screens.
I'm sure they're great screens.
The tech specs on them, they're insane.
Yeah, the interesting part to me is like there's companies who make specialty products that sell this type of shit. And it's cool. It's so interesting to see Apple make specialty products, but that is, to me, a completely specialty product. You know what I mean? Yeah. We don't need it here. Do we need a $5,000 screen?
No. But Apple's always done specialty screens. They've always been in the screen game.
Yeah, they've been in the screen game. You remember those, because when they used to ship the old Mac Pros, the actual cheese graters, the OG, not the trash cans.
Even the screen was a big deal.
Yeah, the screen was good, but it was still affordable. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, but it's like,
and
I think they were like $400, $500.
Yeah, no, they're probably like 1,000 is maybe like the top.
Their peak one. Yeah.
So they're selling specialty products now, which is cool. Or it's like enthusiasts. Like there's so many Apple enthusiasts that they think that like, hey, we can make something this expensive and people will buy it.
Yeah.
And like that's what I was thinking this whole time.
Yeah.
But I want to get back to like why this matters, because I think getting one of these computers, it'll open up a lot of potential, because like you say, hardware and software always run neck and neck. Mm-hmm. Where you get a new piece of hardware and it's like ahead of the time, and like the hardware, you got 12 cores and none of the softwares can only use like you got 32-bit software that can only use 2 cores or something like that.
Yeah, good point. A lot of software programmers will come out and they'll start to utilize the GPUs, the CPUs, the RAM capabilities. And I think we're going to see a lot of innovation.
So I think this is going to push some innovation. These types of computers, to a consumer level, will make plugins. You'll get the Omnisphere 3 that will literally blow up your computer.
Dude, I hope so.
Yeah.
It's like you're in the room with the people. They're going to like model exactly like what it would be like in the room. It'd be sick.
I don't know.
You get the new Keyscape, and it's like Keyscape 2, and it's like a terabyte and a half of just raw samples. That
you better go get you a spinning hard drive.
Yeah.
Because if you want a terabyte on the Mac Pro,
it's gonna cost you.
You better Put a mortgage down.
But I think that's the interesting part
go to
about
the bank, get a mortgage.
That's the interesting part about technology and an industry, right? It's like the music industry. Everybody's been complaining, in the last 5 years, like the playing field's leveled. Everyone has the same technology, and it's like, but if you got a brand new Mac Pro with 28 cores, 1.5 terabytes of RAM, you got all the GPUs, you got it all spec'd out, and then software companies and, libraries that make orchestral samples and stuff.
Altiverbs.
Yeah, start to take advantage of that. Is the playing field really leveled anymore?
No, it goes back and forth.
It goes back and forth.
Always.
It's business cycle stuff, and it's really basic, but at the end of the day, like, right now, you got to take advantage of the fact that you can get your MacBook Pro and like run all your stuff and make all these great music that competes pretty well. But dude, that's not going to last long. Like, I think like we're going to get
technology is speeding up. This Mac
we're
Pro
going to
will
get
be
crazy into the music stuff. Like, it's going to be I hate to use this word, but it's going to be very sensual.
And let's flex a little bit here.
It's going to take all the senses. It's going to be like, whoa, music's totally different.
I don't think human hearing is going to get better, and that's the problem.
That doesn't matter. You have to go beyond hearing. You go into all the senses.
Have you seen the shit like Dolby's tried to do with sound and like,
Yeah, it wasn't there. Like you said, people aren't going home and wearing VR sets right now.
Yeah, exactly. You know what
they're
I mean?
not there. But look, here's the thing about technology is like, nobody thought, I didn't think, like, I would open up my phone and I got like a quad-core processor like connected to everything, and Instagram would just be instant, and everybody's really like on that shit all the time.
I'm pretty certain about certain things. I'm pretty certain that cars are going to be driving us and not us driving cars.
So. Nobody should be driving cars.
Yeah.
That's so stupid.
I'm pretty sure that
it's fucking dumb. Like, especially Max. Like, Max should not be driving a car.
I'm pretty sure that we're not going to have interns at the studio cleaning up trash at all, because there's going to be an AI bot that's going to clean the trash.
It's crazy that it's crazy that anyone ever did their own dishes. That's what I think is going to be the funniest thing in 10 years. People are going to be like, you did your own dishes? That sucks.
How long did that take? It took an hour?
God damn. How long? Yeah. Like, think about people that like before laundry machines and shit.
Yeah.
They're like, you did your own laundry by hand? And then you hung dry it?
Well,
like,
you know what?
What was that, like a week? Like, how many days did that take to do laundry?
I thought about how revolutionary the vacuum cleaner was.
Yeah, facts.
The vacuum cleaner, you used to literally had to pull the rug out of the house, shake the shit out of it.
Yeah, go shake it.
Bring it back in the house.
I don't know.
And then put all the furniture back on top of the rug that you took it off of.
I wasn't around for that.
You had a kitchen table.
I don't know
you
what
better.
He's talking about.
Yeah. So.
He was shaking his own rugs.
No, but that shit was
the
fire.
washing board.
Well, you got the vacuum out. You're like, damn, dog, this is the future.
He's like, whoa, holy shit. Yeah. So yeah, it's come a long way, and I think computing is just insane already. Like the fact that like you got some fucking MIDI controller thing going into your laptop, and you can just like make any. Oh, I'm gonna pull up the violin one. That's so crazy to me. I'm going to play these samples at different velocities and then put them in a room with reverb and space them out. Like, it's insane, dude.
You know what?
I don't even think we're like scratching the surface right now.
Yeah. And here to tie it all back in, here's my official approach, and maybe I will eat my own words in a week or so. But I have no plans on buying the new Mac Pro. In fact, I think it will drop price. I think once they come out, I think Apple will realize that it's a very specialty market, and that their estimated sales will not meet their actual sales, and therefore they will drop the price on it, and then that's when I will start looking at it and purchasing. So
yeah, and I would highly disagree with you.
You think they're gonna hit those estimated sales with it?
I don't think that their estimated sales are very high. And I think that Apple has been staying away from the Pro market for years because they've been making all their money off iPads and iPhones. And they haven't even been really worried about their Mac Pros or their Pro market. And the only reason they even made a Mac Pro is because so many of their consumers have asked for it. So my prediction is that their numbers are pretty low on that, and they don't care. And the fact that like they would even sell 1 or 5 or 50,000 of them, I don't think they really care about that. I think the fact that they can say, hey, we fed the pro market.
You think it was a flex thing? Like, hey, look what we can do.
They're like 28 cores, 1.5 terabytes of RAM. What do you guys want? Here you go. And look, if you are in 3D animation and you are at one of these big farming agencies.
I was about to say, I think I can do quite a bit on my laptop. Not saying it's the most powerful thing.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But dude, if you're doing 3D animation and you're really pushing the technology space with entertainment and you have a big budget.
Yeah.
Right? Your Pixar.
Yeah.
You're going to be like.
Your Radium Media.
Yeah. Your Radium Media. You're going to go like, yeah, cool. Give us some Mac Pros. And we're not going to spec them all the way out, but like this will be great for us. It's an upgrade. It's Mac. We like it. We use Resolve. We use Van Gogh, or what is it called?
I'm gonna let Brad just keep going.
Da Vinci. We use all these like coloring programs. We use 3D. We use all these programs. Let's max it out. Let's get some Mac Pros in here and let's get our team on it. I think that's gonna be great. We don't have to but mark my words, everybody's gonna start making Hackintoshes, and I think that's gonna become a huge.
But everyone's already doing Hackintoshes.
But it's gonna become even bigger. That whole idea of like, yo, why would I go buy a Mac Pro for $6,000 when I can build the mid model for $6,000 and just put the OS on it? Like that's going to become a market.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's my thoughts for now.
That's you already heard mine, so
yeah,
I could keep going, but I think we got it. So
thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you. We just nerded out for what, like 45 minutes or something. An hour? I don't know. But yeah, MacBooks, Mac Pros, these are all tools we use every day at the studio. Like if you really think about it, our laptops will be replaced very soon here.
No, I could do it all
iMacs.
Analog.
Yeah, I'm gonna do all analog.
I'm gonna do it reel to reel.
Yeah, our clients they keep coming with more and more revision notes. They want it speedier. They want it better. They want it more instant. So things like Isotope, the Neutron 3 plugins, UAD plugins, all this stuff is really helping us maximize that. And I think computing power is just going to go crazy. It's going to get exponentially better. But what I really want to see is I want to see people thinking a little bit bigger than like, well, let's make the sample library twice as big. Like, let's go a little further than that in the music industry. I think we can. I'm tired of like things being so 2D in music. Like, yeah, dude, we just listen on stereo speakers and we're fucking cool with it, or headphones. Like, we should expect a lot more. I think if Apple's pushing 1.5 terabytes of RAM, we should be thinking about, hey, maybe we're a little dated with stereo and thinking like this is okay.
How many VR companies started, whether it was sound or audio or video?
So many.
Yeah,
I think that's gonna go a lot bigger. But VR, I don't think like it's not like applicable to real life right now.
Yeah.
It's like the dude in his bedroom that's like a big gamer or something. Like it's such a specialty program. But I think as the computing power gets so good and it starts getting put into consumer products, your car, right? Where you're not like fucking driving your car and you can VR out and you can see things and you can watch a map, or you can see like, for example, you don't even have to put anything on. Your car can show you like where you're at as you're driving through the desert. You can see like the star constellations and it can map things out and show you local restaurants that are like 3 miles away in 3D and show you exactly the routes and stuff. I think all this technology will be really useful in that space. And same thing in the studio.
You're gonna 3D plugins.
Yeah, I think we'll be in the studio and we'll be able to like go like, whoa, I want to go back there.
Turn up the LA2A. Just gonna do this in my hand.
No, see, maybe that's the start of it. But like, think about like being able to be in the space with the orchestra or with the fucking pop record and go like, yo, that cello back there. I want to go over there and talk to the celloist and like move the chair a little bit. You know what I mean? And that replicates what you're hearing in the sound design and the depth and the placement and stuff. And I think that this stuff will all be really useful in the future. I think that like any technology, we just take steps and we learn from those steps, and then we try to get the consumer to accept it and latch onto it, and then we take the next step. But it's hard. It's like the technology is way past what consumers are wanting to do. or what they're like, oh, we're okay with this. But
think sound like Drake, right?
Yeah, but we're not even in the right generation, you know?
Yeah.
Like the generation under us, they're really like, yo, I'm very accepting of like, yeah, I want to be in the studio and like put on a VR set or whatever. Or like I want to be in a space where I can just manipulate shit. They're accepting of that. Like the older generation, especially baby boomers,
they're not
Generation
buying
X, they're like, fuck that, dude.
Fuck
I want to turn my LA two-way knob, you know? So anyway, go catch Kevin on IG at KDE Beats.
Ziggy's officially asleep now.
Yeah,
he's like,
done.
man, you want to talk about technology?
He's like, see ya.
At Bradley HD.
And at Radium_media.
At Ziggy Bubbles.
At Ziggy_Bubbles.
_Bubbles.
Why do we do underscores with everything?
I don't know.
I think it was hard to find a Ziggy Bubbles just straight up.
Yeah, he was taken.
Yeah. Thanks for tuning in, episode 59.